Make a Christmas dream come true. Help a homeless believer, Santos, this year. After Santos's mother passed, she got clean and sober despite her heart issues. But she needs your help to start fresh. Help her get a place. Share the love of God with her. Donate at givesandgo.com. That's givesandgo.com/Sister Santos. Or you can donate via Cash App at $Michael ATK Christia. That's $Michael ATK CHRISTIA. Love never fails. So help a homeless sister and mother and Christian get a home this year. Again, go to givesandgo.com/Sister Santos or send a Cash App to 920-664-1592. That's 920-664-1592. And Merry Christmas to all.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, everybody. It is Sunday, December 18th, 2022, and it is Christmas week, so we are going to be doing as many shows as we can, and hopefully you guys stick with us through Christmas and you enjoy your Christmas week, get that last-minute shopping done. I still got a little bit to go, as happens every year, so I will get to recording all the episodes you guys want to hear as much as possible this week, as well as my team. And if we're a little late on things, just bear with us. It is Christmas week. So, but we're here to talk about this week in WWE, and we've got a lot to talk about. And there's a lot going on, more than I thought that would be going on, given the time of year that I had been saying for weeks is typically a down time of year where, ratings tumble. The WWE knows that they're up against the final weeks of the NFL season, that kind of thing. And it's just holidays, all that. So typically WWE programming follows suit where it's not the most, engaging wrestling programming. But though, there are things that, happen this week, like a John Cena return, and I'll start with that in just a minute. But if you guys haven't joined us and you want to go ad free, I know there's more ads than usual because of the holiday season. And if you want to go ad free, patreon.com/WWE podcast is the place to go, because for $1 you can get in the door and be able to get everything ad free. Of course, there's more perks as you go up, but patreon.com/WWE podcast is the way to go. And I would like to welcome latest and newest patron, Ernie R. I won't say your last name, but Ernie R. Welcome to the family. And you guys can get a shout out as well as get into the cool club if you want to head on over to Patreon and join us. All right, let's get to John Cena, man. It was a surprise that he was quote unquote there. He showed up on the Titantron, and certainly a surprise, especially given that WWE announced that he was going to be in Tampa on the 30th of December. So the fact that he was actually just showed up randomly on the screen was a surprise. He already told us what he's going to be doing on the 30th, which is teaming with Kevin Owens to take on Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. Big night, definitely a pay-per-view quality match that they're giving away on Fox, which tells me they have something even bigger leading to the Royal Rumble. Now, what could that be? I mean, I don't know, honestly. I really don't. I mean, I would imagine Kevin Owens is going to be going one-on-one with Roman Reigns at the Rumble, which is going to be a fun matchup, but we all know that, unfortunately, Roman already wins. But the dynamic also with Sami Zayn continues to evolve with the bloodline, where you're starting to see still some doubt and things that just little things that happen every week that you scratch your head and go, that was something. I think a week or two ago, it was Jimmy asking Jay if he's still okay that Sami Zayn lied to his face. We got this week where Sammy slipped up and said that Kevin is still his friend, and then corrected himself and saying was my friend. So there are little things being dropped that all is not well with Sammy and the bloodline that eventually we all know is gonna collapse. So, but I want to talk about John Cena quickly here and move on to the rest of SmackDown. Now, again, it was cool that we saw John Cena, very, I guess as a surprise, kind of surprise, given that it was really just a pre-recorded Titantron promo. But it was, to me, it was the worst version of John Cena that has existed. And what I mean by that is when he's not taking himself seriously, he's kind of doing this in a wink and nod way. He's trying to be funny, and John Cena trying to be funny on camera makes me want to gouge my eyes out. He's almost never funny, at least not intentionally. It's like when he's self-aware that he's trying to be funny, it comes across just awful. He felt like he was a parody of himself. It was awful. He was way too jokey, not serious. I hate the serious John Cena is the best version of himself. This version is, it's cartoonish, it's amateur, it's not funny. I don't know what he was trying to appeal to. And maybe that's how I felt personally, and because I've never liked this version of Cena, but this was like the worst version of himself on steroids. It was, I'm sorry, it made me cringe at how just a parody of himself, that's how it came across to me. And I don't know, wasn't a fan of that at all. I don't mind the appearance, it's just the execution on John Cena's part. It's almost like this, it's almost like he filmed this in front of his cooler Hollywood friends that don't like wrestling and think it's fake, and that they feel like John doesn't need to go back, but he's still trying to impress the Hollywood elites, and they were behind the camera and they're watching him do it. So he did it in a way that they knew he was just kind of almost making fun of wrestling and making fun of his character, so that they didn't think he believed in himself. If that makes sense, like they were watching him behind the camera. So he gave them the version of himself that he felt would be the most acceptable to them. No, I don't think that was actually the case, of course, but it felt like that. Like the cool kids were behind the camera and he was trying to play for them, trying to be cool. That's what it felt like. I'm sorry. It was awful. But again, the matchup in a few weeks, or in 2 weeks, should be fun. And it'll lead to something with Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns at Rumble for the championship, somehow, some way. But I guess that leaves the question wide open. Well, if the tag match is really to just set up Roman versus Owens at the Rumble for the title, where does that leave John Cena? Maybe they have a triple threat of some sort. I guess I could see John Cena, Kevin Owens, and Roman Reigns in a triple threat at the Rumble. I could see that. And in fact, I'd prefer it because I don't want John Cena entering the Royal Rumble. So maybe that's what they're getting to. You know what? That seems most likely to me. And I think that Kevin Owens and John Cena lose the tag match, keeping Roman's streak alive. And Adam Pearce comes out and says that due to interference or whatever they pulled to lose the match or win the match, that now Roman's going to have to defend the belt against both guys at Royal Rumble. Now, Adam Pearce does seem to show a lot of fear around the tribal chief. Every time he walks in, it's like he's walking into the principal's office when actually he's the one in charge. So I don't know how Adam Pearce grows a set to do that to Roman, but my point is, generally, I think a triple threat happens at Rumble. Roman ends up winning and pinning Kevin Owens, period. And we move on. That's it. They keep mentioning his streak. He's at 830 some days. Again, I said this at 400 days, 500 days, 600 days, 700 days, 800 days, now 830 some days. We're getting to 1,000, folks. I hate to say it. So, all right. Well, what else happened on, let's happen on SmackDown. Bray Wyatt. let's talk about that, because we got at least kind of an answer as to who Uncle Howdy is or could be. And actually, let me rephrase that. We now know who Uncle Howdy isn't. And Uncle Howdy is not Bray Wyatt. That's great. That at least quells the fear that it's an alter ego of Bray and that he is forming some kind of group. Alexa might be part of this Uncle Howdy Bray Wyatt group. We know they are at least separate entities now, so we can eliminate that possibility, which is great. I love that. So that's good. Outside of that, I really am becoming a fan of LA Knight. I love his delivery of his promos so much. He has so much confidence on the microphone. Like, I believe what he's saying. I love how he called out Bray Wyatt for saying that, your return was one of the most talked about returns ever. And yet you've come out here and said nothing but a bunch of gobbledygook, never getting to the point. And I'm like, thank you. I mean, that's been the Bray Wyatt promo style forever. But this time has been particularly frustrating because we expected a little bit more off the bat. And it's not like we're taking a slow burn. Like, this is like a straight out of the freezer and letting it sit on the counter. Like, that's how slow we're going here, which is even too slow for my taste. But Uncle Howdy still has not been revealed. But we know who it isn't. So could it still be Bo Dallas? Could it be somebody else? I've got theories, people emailing me about theories. We'll go over them on the mailbag. Anybody that emails me about things, by the way, I will go over it on the mailbag. It could still be the Eric Rowan type and all that. I wouldn't hate if it's someone we don't know. If it's someone we don't know from another promotion or, I wouldn't hate that. But the longer you go, the more anticipation it builds. And when it's someone that the audience looks at and goes, who the hell is this? Then the fans, I think it builds disappointment. So I think the longer we go, it will be a face we recognize. I think we're actually kind of at that point now. So my theory of it possibly being someone we don't know is, it's not gone, but it's being diminished week by week, because it will be a completely flat reveal whoever it is. Because if it was somebody that they wanted to introduce and he was new to the WWE fans, you do that kind of right away. So there's not this build of anticipation that, because then the expectation grows every week. And when you introduce somebody new, it will fall flat. So who do I think it is? It's probably a familiar face. Then I'll leave it at that. Randy, it could be. It's not Alexa Bliss. I've heard that one floated around. It's not Alexa Bliss. Given the stature of the person, the hands, everything else, it's not Alexa Bliss. But Bo Dallas, Eric Rowan, and Randy Orton are all in the running. They are all in the running. But again, LA Knight beating down Bray Wyatt here was fun. Bray Wyatt just kind of took it. And then Uncle Howdy showed up and LA Knight was like, oh, they are separate people. And then he left. LA Knight left. Uncle Howdy cackled, and that segment ended. I liked it. LA Knight is getting more out of this than I thought he would. And what we all thought probably was he was going to be just this sacrificial lamb milestone. Just get your feet wet back into the ring, Bray, and just, stomp over this guy and move to your next real opponent. That's not the case here. LA Knight's making a name for himself. LA Knight is really establishing himself. If you've never seen him before, he is just, I don't know. Maybe I'm overemphasizing it and overstating it. Some of you don't feel the same way. I really love LA Knight's work over the last several weeks. It's just great. So, all right. Let's see what else happened here. We got the Intercontinental Championship match, Gunther versus Ricochet. I like this. This was a really good match. And I actually was happy that Adam Pearce took away the crutch of Imperium. And not just because it evens the odds for the babyface. I don't really care about Ricochet. Not to say about his personally or his career. I'm just not invested. I don't find him particularly engaging. He's a good looking dude who does a lot of flip flops and flies and inhuman stuff. To me, he's got, an inch of personality and, 4 feet of in-ring. And you can't have that be the case if you want to excel. And Ricochet continues to just be that lovable loser that is or seemingly never going to win the big one. But this is a prime example of winning in a loss. Because as much of a fan as I am, not a fan of Ricochet's babyface character as some may be, the art of losing a match yet still feeling like you're elevated is so critical in wrestling. If you don't understand the art of being able to take a massive positive even in a loss, then you don't understand professional wrestling. This is an example that it's a perfect example of a guy losing a big match and losing it definitively and losing it clean, and yet still coming out feeling like he is elevated in the loss because he now is standing toe-to-toe with one of the biggest guys on SmackDown, perceivably one of the toughest guys on SmackDown, and nearly won the Intercontinental Championship. But he didn't. And we had Gunther win as he should have, and he didn't do anything, quote-unquote, heel-like to win. He just beat Ricochet. Just beat him, period. And I loved the video package they put together before this. Well done. Video packages seemingly are making a more impactful comeback. I loved it. I love that. I love this matchup was really good, and I think that both guys came out of this elevated. Now, I will say that after the matchup, we got a spot where Imperium was going to then just inflict more punishment on Ricochet, and we got Braun Strowman coming out. And I don't find Braun Strowman particularly interesting either, but he's a big man who roars a lot. And not even that, the part that isn't even the worst part that bothered me is my point. I think that having Imperium continually run, and specifically Gunther run from Braun Strowman, is concerning to me. Gunther is the opposite. His entire character is built on the opposite of that, where he doesn't run, he stands up, he's a nasty heel that can beat you without cheating. And yeah, Braun Strowman's a bigger dude, but instilling fear in Gunther, it's oil and water for me. It's damaging to his character. Now, in this spot, you could say, well, he was exhausted from the match, and I'll let that slide. But there's been weeks before where he has literally tried to just evade Braun Strowman. And it looks like we are going to get a Braun Strowman-Gunther match, probably at the Royal Rumble. And let's just hope and pray that Braun Strowman does not win, because I think Gunther has a lot more left in the tank with that Intercontinental Championship and has really established himself solidly as one of the faces of SmackDown, without question. Yes, Roman Reigns is the biggest star and he's the face of SmackDown, but when you think of SmackDown, I mean, one of those faces you think of now is Gunther, hands down. And he has put the Intercontinental Championship back in the minds of fans and has brought respect back to the Intercontinental Championship. So I would keep the belt on him as long as possible. We don't need a cartoon character like Braun Strowman coming out and winning the belt. I'm sorry, we don't. Not when a belt is on a weekly basis being elevated. I love how Imperium is all based on respect, no nonsense. I love it. All right. Then then we get something that wasn't great. And that's the triple threat tag team match Winner gets a shot at the Usos. Honestly, it doesn't matter who the winner is here because it's an absolute joke. Whoever wins, that they're going to win the belts. But it's whatever. It's fine. So it was Legado del Fantasma versus the Viking Raiders versus Hit Row. And the match was okay. For the most part, I mean, it had, some okay spots. Of course, what will people remember the most about this? Top Dollar and his near-death experience of trying to do, and you know what? I love this. I love this for the simple fact that it goes to show big men shouldn't be doing this crap. Now, I know you may say, well, big men who can do it, nothing wrong with that. I would still argue if you can, you shouldn't. Not only is it a unnecessary risk, which we saw, unfortunately, come to pass this past week, but it also, I think, takes away from the uniqueness of big men wrestling. It takes away what big men wrestling should be, and that is enough with the high-flying stuff. We see that from everyone. Everyone seems to have the same style, the same moveset, the whole, fly off the top rope. Even if I, just because I can doesn't mean I should. Well, I'm gonna anyway. No, it feels like everyone has to almost outdo each other in how many high flying moves they should do, and especially if you're a big man. Look what I can do because I'm a big man. Again, the big men in wrestling, they don't stop to think if they should just because they can. And Top Dollar got lucky; he didn't kill himself, but when he attempted a suicide dive of sorts over the top to splash everybody, he didn't hit anyone, yet everyone fell magically. It was hilarious and also sad. But I think when Triple H was talking, was it last week or the week before, saying that there's some talent he's brought back that he has been very disappointed in, I think you can look at this tag team as, Exhibit A, rather. I mean, they not only, is Top Dollar, of course the botch is kind of the icing on the cake, but they are getting zero promo time. The crowd is reacting like next to nothing for this group. And Ashanti the Adonis, I don't think I said 2 words since he's come onto the team. Top Dollar, while his weight loss is admirable, nearly killed himself on SmackDown. And B-Fab doesn't get a whole lot of mic time. She's got this little feud going on with Zelina Vega, and that's about it. So I would be if I was Top Dollar, or if I was Hit Row, I'd be very concerned about my contract. I don't know how long Triple H signed them for. Maybe it was a year. But whatever that expiration date is, I'd be very concerned if I was Hit Row. Let me just say that. They could get the chopping block twice here. And it's sad to say, given the tag team division that always needs help. So, yeah, let's move on. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? Obviously, we saw the Roman Reigns segment. What else? I'm scanning through. We got the Women's Tag Team Championship match. Tegan Nox and Liv Morgan versus Dakota Kai and Io Sky. This was fine. Damage Control beat Nox and Morgan, and that's fine. I really don't know what to make of Bayley's group anymore. They're just kind of there, and WWE picks and chooses when they want to have a tag team division for the women, because more often than not, they just pull them out of thin air and just try to lie to us that there's the division. But Liv and Tegan Nox continue to be partners, and fine. Eventually we'll have to call them a tag team. Do I know exactly when that'll be? When officially they become a tag team, or do you have to register for it, or you just, after just teaming once, you're a tag team? We don't know. But you can rest assured that at WrestleMania, WWE will suddenly have like 8 women's tag teams that didn't exist 3 weeks before WrestleMania. All right. So what else happened? I'm trying to think of any Bloodline stuff. we thought we might get an official coronation of Sami Zayn into Sami Uso. That didn't happen, as Kevin Owens, or rather Roman Reigns, said, tonight was going to be a good night for you, but we have a problem, a KO problem. And that's when things took a turn. Again, that's when the whole John Cena thing happened, and that's it. So, again, John Cena trying to be funny with like mermaid, bald eagle, peace emoji, trying to be like, it's like he's trying to be relevant, trying to like connect with today's younger audience that, hey, I use emojis too. Cool. He must really know what's going on in pop culture. What a really relatable guy. I thought it was terrible. So I can't stress that enough. I don't care if it's John Cena. Yeah. Anyway, I've said my piece on that. Let's continue on to Raw, where Bobby Lashley got fired after hitting an official and then, losing his cool. And Bobby Lashley got fired. Subsequent to that, we got a rescinding of that firing from Adam Pearce. So he fired him on Raw, but then decided he's not really fired. I'd imagine there's going to be something on Raw to follow up on this, whether his job is on the line in a match, or if you do it one more time, you will be terminated. I don't know, or if it's going to result in some kind of hilarious match between the Scrap Daddy and the Almighty. It might, and that'd be hilarious to watch, because seeing Adam Pearce get beat up is just a personal joy of mine. So we'll have to see how that comes to light. But having Bobby Lashley get fired and taking this different angle in his career, it's a nice change of pace from Bobby just being involved in just straight wrestling matches, where he has something more going on other than just what's going on in the ring from match to match. It's this kind of side program that we didn't often see, or have almost never seen, from Lashley. It's always been like straight to business. And now he's got this kind of side thing going on that I like, that has him accidentally attacking officials, then purposefully attacking officials. What's going on? He's fired. He's not. I'm on board for it. It's something different for Bobby Lashley's career. Let's see. We also got Seth Rollins defeating Bobby Lashley via pinfall in that very said match for the number one contendership for the U.S. Championship. That was a really good match. Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley are just so good in the ring. My God, they have such good chemistry. I don't know what it is with those two. They just fit. So anytime they're in the ring, I pay attention. Alexa Bliss takes on Bayley. And what do you remember most about this match? Not a lot, other than Alexa Bliss and her connection to Bray. That's it. That's really it. That's what this match was meant to set up. Is, okay, Alexa Bliss wins. She'll face Bianca. Obviously, she's not going to beat Bianca, I don't think. And then it was after Bianca got in the ring to congratulate her, Alexa Bliss nearly hit a Sister Abigail on Bianca Belair, and then stopped and said, what just happened? I don't know what came over me. Of course, we saw the Bray Wyatt symbol pop on the titantron just as this happened. So that's interesting to me, how they progress that story this coming week. How do they continue with this? And now you'll start to actually hear the Royal Rumble words being uttered over the next couple of weeks. The actual event name, as they've ignored it the last few weeks. And now they're going to start bringing it back into the conversation, especially as we get past Christmas. So, all right. What else? AJ Styles defeated Chad Gable after hitting a Styles Clash. The Judgment Day took on the Street Profits and Akira Tozawa. That was a really good match. A coming out party for Akira Tozawa in that match. I went over this on the Monday Night Raw review. Dominic pinned Tozawa. And then Damian Priest took advantage of a distracted referee to hit a crucifix bomb that allowed Mysterio to get the victory. No Edge yet. No Beth Phoenix. But those two are coming. And it may be sooner than later to set up a match at the Royal Rumble. Because don't forget of what they did to Beth Phoenix. So Edge will once again, for the 14th time, return to take out the Judgment Day. All right. A ladder match between Dexter Lumis and The Miz was set for next week. So The Miz refused. Or I'm sorry. Lumis was using the money he received from The Miz to buy and hand out merch to fans. Johnny Gargano, with Johnny, when The Miz attacked and stole a bag of money, Adam Pearce ordered The Miz to return the money, and then Miz refused before eventually agreeing to a double or nothing ladder match on Raw tomorrow night. So we have that if you care about such things. It's really just kind of a silly sideshow match or program, and I'm not going to crap on it. You need that stuff. You need the programs that are not so serious, and this is one of those. Io Sky defeated Candice LeRae via pinfall after hitting a moonsault. I don't know what to say about this. I just don't. Solo Sikoa defeated Elias, but before the match, Elias asked Kevin Owens to be in his corner, which Owens refused to do because of the history between the two, which I thought was actually a really funny moment. Owens did run in to chase Sikoa. He hit a stunner on Sikoa. Sami Zayn took off, and that was pretty much it. Which, again, Kevin Owens will continue to interfere in the Bloodline's business until their match, Roman and Kevin Owens match, takes place and Roman beats him, because unfortunately that's going to happen. All right, Rhea Ripley takes on Asuka. She beats Asuka. She hits Riptide. Asuka sprayed Dominic with the blue mist, and after she did that, that's when Rhea hit Riptide on Asuka for the victory. To me, the most notable thing about this is not even Rhea Ripley beating Asuka. That's kind of a given the states of both of their careers. It's Rhea Ripley, or rather Asuka's lack of makeup that made her look fresh and new. You know, for so long, she's done those kind of green or blue or pink tears off of her eyes. And this week, she just looked more just like a normal human being. And there's something to be said for that. I really enjoyed her look this week, a more natural look. I hope it continues. She felt more like a human being. And that to me was a big deal. It's funny about the addition by subtraction analogy here. I think that's what's coming to mind. So, yeah, that pretty much wraps up Monday Night Raw. Again, the biggest takeaway is Alexa Bliss and what the connection is there. She's nearly hitting Sister Abigail and Bianca, and Seth Rollins beating Lashley for the number one contendership to face Austin Theory. And then Lashley, of course, getting quote-unquote fired by Adam Pearce. That, of course, ended up in a reversal of the firing, as you'd imagine. And, yeah, that pretty much covers this week. I mean, I actually will be hopefully having a guest next week. We'll see. I know it's post-Christmas, and I've got a lot of guests lined up as far as co-hosting goes, so I'll be getting that back into the saddle. Now that I have a little bit of extra time, I'm looking at some of the news coming out of WWE, and here's a major update on Goldberg's contractual status in WWE, if you're interested in such things. So this is according to Fightful Select, and it says that Goldberg recently revealed he has 2 months left on his contract. He's currently out of available matches. And despite the rumors, WWE and representatives have yet to come to any deal that would extend his tenure with the company. The report was meant to dismiss rumors that Goldberg had signed a 2-year, 5-match contract with the company that would mainly be for matches on shows like Mania or Saudi Arabia, noting that the rumors were news to his reps that negotiate those kinds of deals. And according to sources close to the former Atlanta Falcon, Fightful notes that it is possible that Goldberg and WWE still could come to an agreement in the future. So I would say let's hope not. I'm sorry, I'm over it. We've seen what Goldberg can and can't do. We've seen the dangers of Goldberg in the ring. Look, the guy's in shape. I give the guy credit. He seems like a genuinely good human being. He does, as a person. He does, at least from what I've seen. But we've seen his extent in the ring of what he can do. We know what he's going to try to do. We know the type of match he's going to have. We know how long his matches are going to be. I don't need Goldberg in my ring again. I'm sorry. Now, I know some of you are WCW diehards. Some of you have some soft spot for Goldberg. I don't. I don't hate the man. I just never connected with his character ever, even when he was hot as hell in WCW in the late 90s. I never connected with him. Stone Cold and the WWE were way better at storytelling than WCW was to me. And even so, my point is, even when Goldberg was actually organically hot in his prime in WCW, I never connected. So if there's no connection there, it's not going to translate well 20 years later when I didn't have a connection to begin with, and he's not that same guy, and he still has the same number of moves in his arsenal. I mean, so to me, if you didn't connect with Goldberg back when he was actually hot, there's nothing that's going to attract you to him now that you didn't see then or have available to you or get presented to you then. He's the same guy 20 years later. And look, again, he's in great shape for being his age, and I give him credit for that. But I just have no interest in this. So maybe some of you feel different. Let me know. Let's see. I'll go through another story here, maybe one or two. So Finn Balor is reportedly set to face a WWE Hall of Famer at the Royal Rumble. So this is, let's see, according to WrestlingNews.co, the company is setting up a major encounter for Judgment Day leader Finn Balor. So here's what's going to happen. Again, according to WrestlingNews.co, WWE is reportedly planning on having Finn Balor face Edge, who has been heavily involved in everything the faction has done. However, the rivalry is set to be taken to the next level, where the two wrestlers will meet inside Hell in a Cell. And okay, so Edge, yep. I'm trying to give you guys news you actually care about here, other than just recaps of their careers. So that's it. I mean, I guess it makes sense from a logical standpoint. I was actually hoping they would not have any Hell in a Cell matches for many more months, so that when it happens and people say the words Hell in a Cell, it feels like it means more. Like, in other words, I want to be able to skip that month where we typically had the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, so it feels like there's a void and like, whoa, we didn't get Hell in a Cell this year. What's going on? It feels too soon for a Hell in a Cell match. I understand the temptation. I understand these two are great in the ring. I understand that the rivalry is borderline deserving of it. But I don't know. For the sanctity and respect of the match and the damage that's been ensued on that match over the last several years, where it's been nothing more than a gimmick. It's been gimmicked over the last several years. I need absence to make this feel important again, and it looks like we're not going to get it, according to WrestlingNews.co. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they're wrong, but we will have to see. I'm over the Edge and Judgment Day thing. I'm just kind of over it. Beth Phoenix, of course, is going to take on Rhea Ripley at some point as well. You know that's coming. And Rhea Ripley's doing just career work right now. She's just effing brilliant. Everything Rhea Ripley does and touches is so much fun. Everything Rhea does. Rhea Ripley is, right now, again, the best she's ever been at any point in her career. All right, let's get to one more here. Let's talk about Liv Morgan. She has some comments on her relationship with Ronda Rousey. So this is, according to, I'm looking at the source. Okay, so Morgan appeared on Twin Talk with Haley and Hannah Cavender. That's a weird last name. To discuss her relationship with the baddest woman on the planet. And this is what Morgan said, quote, "I'm the only person in the whole entire world to beat her twice. It was amazing, honestly. Growing up a huge fan of WWE since I was 5, you know the goal is to be a women's champion. So to win Money in the Bank and to cash in the same night on Ronda, it was unreal. Let's see. When I finally got to that night, I had no emotion. I couldn't feel a thing. So, let's see. Since our title feud, this is all still quotes, we've steered pretty far away from each other. But beforehand, I think I was one of her first friends here in WWE. That's why when I won the title, she respected what I did and she actually was happy for me. But yeah, now, no, I don't like her anymore." I don't know if that's like character Liv or real life Liv. I will say Ronda Rousey as champion is exceedingly boring. Now, I know this week that they did attack, they meaning Ronda and Shayna, attack Raquel Rodriguez in the training room, which I actually really enjoyed as far as really both women go. I think Raquel Rodriguez on the mic, she had a different look, which I liked. She talked about how she's may not be cleared, but she still has to fight for her, she's going to basically do what she wants to do. And Ronda and Shayna attacked her arm again, and it was all good stuff. But the entirety of Ronda Rousey's career as women's champion is insanely boring. If you would have told me that Ronda Rousey as a champion is boring a few years ago, I wouldn't believe you. It's exceedingly boring. And they don't put her out in front of a crowd to cut a promo because she's not good at promos. She had a god-awful match with Shotzi at the last pay-per-view. So, like, what are we doing with Ronda here? What are we doing? I don't know. I want Ronda Rousey just magically disappear. I want her to just evaporate and go back to her farm where she can sit on Twitter and troll the fans and act like she's on some, high horse. Fine. Good. Go home. That's what I want. I want Ronda Rousey to just go home because she doesn't respect the sport. She has proven that time and again. She wants to rename a championship because for some weird reason she can't string the words SmackDown Women's Championship together. For some reason those words are just too much for her to handle, so she wants to rename a belt. She's trolled the fans on at times where she's like using inside lingo, but she was only in the business for a year, and yet she feels like she's like a grizzled vet or something. She's hurt a lot of women, especially at her first run going through, eventually, of course, culminating at the WrestleMania 35 main event. She hurt some women. She's just, to me, been an absolute, especially upon a return, just been womp, 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 womp to me. It's been terrible. So I'm not trying to end this on a negative note, but if you're going to bring up Ronda Rousey, it's got to be said, because right now the SmackDown Women's Championship is being just hidden with Ronda Rousey. All right. That concludes the show tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow with another Current State of WWE with Anthony DeMarco. Tuesday's a Raw Review. Wednesday's a Mailbag. And then, the rest of the week is a little bit fuzzy given that we have Christmas coming up this coming weekend. Christmas Eve on Friday. Or no, is it Saturday? Christmas Eve on Saturday. Christmas Day on Sunday. So we'll have to see how that week in review shakes out a week from tonight on Christmas night. I might be able to squeeze one out. That sounded bad, but you know what I mean. Squeeze a show out. I'll be able to do an episode. All right. Before things get bad, thank you so much for joining me, everybody, and I will talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.